Hey everyone, it's Dr. Vanu Namani and Dr. Phil Louie back today with the AthleteSpine, and we have a really special guest on with us today. It's Jalea Williams from the University of Miami, and many of you may have seen her recently during the NCAA Women's Basketball Tournament, where she was killing it on her team. Leading the University of Miami to a really good finish, making it to the Elite Eight in the tournament. But today we're kind of here to talk about her journey, as she's a person who's had spine surgery herself, and a pretty extensive one at that. So, Jalea, thanks so much for coming on with us today.
No problem. Thanks so much. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so take us back to high school, right? It's your sophomore year in high school back then. How did you get diagnosed? Like, what were you told at the time? And yeah, take us back to that time.
Honestly, I didn't know what I had at the time, but it was like my mother noticed like I would lean to a side and my left rib would pop out. So we didn't know what it was, but I think we saw the process. I mean, well, she saw my body shift, but it was always like that. But we noticed like she noticed that's something that needs to get fixed because she didn't want me getting older and my body would like lean over. So as she saw that, she just said, excuse me, she just said we needed to get a checkup. So I mean, we just got it checked up and we just went from there, just going from hospital, not hospital, but a person. Then he told me I had to get surgery.
Yeah. And the condition you're diagnosed with, scoliosis. And so how old were you when you first got that diagnosis?
Honestly, I don't know, but probably 17, I want to say. I don't know.
Okay. So it seems like it was relatively quick to the time that you got diagnosed to starting to consider, the need for surgery then.
Yeah, like soon as we was diagnosed, my mom like we got it done. Like it was no process of wait.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the condition you had, is something called adolescent idiopathic scoliosis, and the X-rays that were shown on ESPN, I think that you had posted on Instagram previously, showed a pretty impressive curve. It's over a 60-degree curve, and certainly those are the ones that we as surgeons recommend fixing.
So what was going through your head, when they told you, hey, we recommend surgery?
Nothing. I didn't know nothing like this whole process. I didn't know nothing about it. I didn't even know it was that serious. Like as I hear it each and every day, people telling me like they'll like even when kids text me on my Instagram DM telling me like, this is hard surgery. I didn't know like a lot of people had this and like it was just like a hard process. Like me just hearing about it, I was just like, okay, I need surgery. Like I'll be fine, I guess. I didn't know it was like a serious process, like where it could end my career or something. But it were times where like the process with the recovery, I was like, I couldn't do it. Like I wanted to give up at some time.
Yeah. Yeah, so the surgery you had was pretty extensive. It was, as I think a lot of people saw with your X-rays, you had a spinal fusion from T2 to L2, and so that was a fusion basically from the top of your mid back to the top of your lower back. And just so for everyone that doesn't kind of know what that surgery entails, basically you've got a long scar on your mid and lower back, and the surgeons used screws that went into the bones called pedicle screws to get fixation of your spine, and then two rods were used to kind of straighten and correct your curvature. And from the X-rays, you can see they did a really beautiful job correcting your scoliosis.
Yeah, so walk us through your early recovery, right? What were the first few days like after surgery? What was going through your head at that point, other than, ow, this really hurts?
So after the surgery, he didn't really say I didn't need really like a physical therapist or something like where I have to physically go to somebody. But I think he just, if I remember this well, I think he told my mom like just keep her moving and don't have her sitting around. So basically, with the recovery process, I mean, it was times where I didn't even make it to my bed. Like I'll just sit on the couch and I'll sit there all night just watching TV. So my mom had like a little supportive system where my uncle would try to come and try to tell me like, okay, I need to walk. Or it's just days where, moms be moms and like, okay, get up, you gotta go, get up. Like we're going outside. And it's like it's a circle where I can walk around where I live at. And I'll just walk around and just take one step at a time. And, just my family and my supportive system just being there just helped a lot. It just helped me push like saying, okay, they're pushing me, now I gotta push for myself.
Was the recovery process easier or harder than you thought it was going to be?
I thought the recovery process was going to be easy, but it was harder than I thought it would be. Like it was just like mental wise, as in like, you have to get up. Like, don't just sit around. Like, it was just mental. Like, it was times where I just want to sit there and be lazy.
So was your goal the entire time like I'm going to get back on the court, I'm going to join my teammates, I'm going to play again? Is that something that was on your mind a lot, sort of
Yeah,
early?
yes, when my supportive system came, that was on my mind a lot. But like when I sometimes when like when you're just in a room by yourself and it's just dark, you're just thinking like this is a long process and like how are you gonna get back? So it's like times when my dad came in there and he checked up on me. I was telling it was some negative thoughts I was telling him, but he was like, my dad was there telling me, okay, like you're gonna get back on the court. Like we prayed, and it's like from that point on, it's like we just took it from there and just kept pushing. Like we never took 3 steps back. Like we just always was taking 3 steps forward.
Yeah. Did you gain any height after surgery?
Of course, I'm tall. Like I'm trying to dunk now. Like
How much height did you gain?
I gained a lot. I don't know, but I was like I kind of felt short, but now I just like I have great posture. And I'm just like
There you
standing
go.
tall. And then like it's like everybody when I came back from practice, I was like, "Well, you got taller." I'm like, "Yeah, I got taller."
I am.
Yeah. Going from playing guard, now I'm playing center.
Yeah.
All right, so you get cleared to play 6 months after surgery. What did that feel like? And what was it like getting a ball back in your hands and getting back on the court and seeing your teammates again? What was that like?
Okay. It was like my mama recorded me, I think, but when I got that paper, I was like, we're going to my school and I'm going to show this to JR. And I'm like, oh, here you go. I'm back on the court. We're working out tomorrow. So it was like, I was ready. And it's like, but it's like, it was just with the recovery process, like it was times where I was just like, okay, maybe I'll just walk. Like when I walked around the circle, I'll tell my mom like, let's go to the gym. Like my team is practicing. So like I just went to practice with them and like it was times well, okay. My mama didn't have to tell me to walk. It was just like being there, it gave me motivation and like, okay, I gotta be there for my teammates and I want to be back on the court to help them. So it was like times where I just get up, I'll go get a ball and I'll just dribble it, walk around the court, or I would just try little stuff. I knew I wasn't clear, but I was trying little stuff. Like I'll shoot a layup or something. Like I would walk and just shoot a layup. Like it was just like, it was a fun process. But when I got the news to finally play, I was like, okay, I'm ready. I think I was like, I told God, like, I've been ready. Like I was doing little stuff. So I was ready.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I think one of the questions that we always get from patients is, that these operations certainly do, because they fuse part of your spine, it takes away flexibility from that part of your back. Have you noticed a big loss in flexibility, and how has that affected your play?
With the surgery, I wasn't really flexible. I mean, I was always tight. I was always the one that needed to stretch. Like somebody would have to force me to stretch. But like with the process, with the process now with stretching, like I'll tell my trainer, like, okay, she be telling me now, like, even though you didn't have no like physical therapy or something, like we're still gonna like get your back, like stretch it out, sometimes my back like it gets a little tight, but it's like that's because I don't stretch it. But now I stretch it, like the chiropractor, he'll like do some stretches with me, some moves, and it's like it'll feel better after that. So it's like just even after the process, it's just like, okay, now I know, like, even though the process is done, I still have to continue with the process because you never know what can happen.
Cool. Well, I guess the last question we want to ask you today is one that we get a lot too, right? We see a lot of young girls who are around the same age that you were at the time or even younger. And it's the same thing. They don't have a lot of pain, but their backs sort of look funny. And they go to this surgeon and they are told, hey, you need this big surgery. And there's a lot that's sort of going through their minds at that point. What advice do you have to these young girls who are looking up to someone like you, who's been able to come back to the highest level of competition after a surgery like this, when they're having those dark times by themselves in the room? What would you tell them?
Honestly, I would tell them, like, it's going to be times where you want to give up, but no matter what, don't. And for one, if you're not going to do it, make sure mom or dad is right there pushing you. Your friends are pushing you. Make sure they're always on your butt pushing you, making you want to get back on the court and do better for yourself. And honestly, last, just think about the time when you was on the court and how happy you were just touching the ball and playing. And that should do it. Like, playing basketball or playing whatever sport you're playing, it just brings joy to you. So just think about that joy in your life, and you want to get back to it.
Yeah, that's really great advice. Well, Julia, thanks so much for joining us today. This has been really fantastic, and I'm sure everyone is really going to enjoy hearing your story and everything that you made too. And I'm sure, well, we're all really looking forward to seeing what you're going to do these last 2 years of school. So until next time, everyone, be sure to like and subscribe and follow us on Instagram. It's Dr. Monty, Dr. Louie. Until next time. Thanks, Julia.
No problem.